We will adjourn the closed session and reconvene the open session. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our final meeting of the school year, 24-25 school year. Angel, can you please recite the teleconference questions for each?
Sure. Okay, as we are teleconferencing, we're going to ask Trustee Phillips a few questions. Trustee Phillips, are you able to hear our proceedings on this end?
I am.
Do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting?
I do.
Has the agenda been posted at your location?
Yes.
Is your location such that any member of the public can participate in the public portions of the teleconference meeting?
Yes.
Okay, great. President Phillips-Kingman, Vice President Shogun, Trustees Weiner and Montavant, are you able to hear Trustee Phillips?
Yes.
Thank you. Since we are teleconferencing, all actions will be taken by roll call vote.
Thank you, Angel. Welcome. And with that, we will move to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Moving on to our public comment period. Do we have public comment?
I do, I have 2 comments.
All right.
Mr.
Go ahead. Oh, we asked that comments are limited to 3 minutes. Groups are asked to limit their comments to a total of 5 minutes, and the board shall limit the total time of public comment to 20 minutes.
Mr. Danziger?
Superintendent, Board of Trustees, Steve Danziger, member of the Board of Friends of the Nature Area. So we're over the shock of last month when you declared the area surplus property. And we were happy to see in the closed session that you're talking about negotiation with the John Muir Land Trust. We're very familiar with those, with what they do and properties that they own. And we're cautiously optimistic that something will be worked out and that you'll be able to maybe report something when you come back in August. We stand ready to do whatever we could do to support you. And we're hoping that, we know that the garden area and what we call the kitchen area was not included in the 16 acres that you're talking about with the land trust. And we're ready to get back in there if we can. I know the board has sent an email suggesting that we could help pay to remove the greenhouse. We haven't heard a response yet, and we're ready to do it. We're ready if it means getting back in that area, perhaps even the kitchen area where there's a lot of work to be done, especially at the pond area where we have an endangered red-legged frog. To remind you all about the red-legged frog that's there. We're concerned about bullfrogs moving in or other invasive species that may decimate that red-legged frog population. So we're here. We look forward to August. Hopefully you'll have something on the agenda by then, and we'll be ready to work with you. Thank you.
Miss Kathy Barrett?
Good evening, trustees, superintendent, district staff, members of the public. I'm Kathy Barrett, and I'm president of the Friends of Orinda Nature Area. And I'm here tonight because our board doesn't think that that you want to work with FONA any longer for the benefit of the children in the community. So that's the feeling that we have received since we haven't heard from you in a long time. I want to do a little history going back 30 years ago under the leadership of Orinda V. Man, Steve Gentry, with teachers such as Christy Blackie Taylor and Terry Slayman and others. The Friends of the Wagner Ranch Nature Area became a grassroots group with the support vision of working with the district to help with the environmental education program, which you've been, have been doing for many years. As the greenhouse and Ann Morton's Pond, Bridges Dining Area, Biodiversity Garden, these are the kind of places that were created during that time when we had that first grassroots group of people. It wasn't until 2005 that we became a 501c3 organization. Even after we opposed Superintendent Brunetti's plan to build the maintenance yard on the Olive Grove, we worked successfully with Superintendent Brunetti and his curriculum specialist, Lisa Bissell, to seek and get the Kids and Creeks Watership Program grants and the Math in the Garden grant through the UC Botanical Garden. So we have always striven to work successfully and closely with the trustees and the superintendents of Orinda. When the OUSD could no longer fund environmental education programs, we stepped in to provide funds for science equipment and stipends for tourists and the nature aides so that the Orinda teachers could continue to bring their classes to the nature area for multi-day outdoor investigations. During COVID, the Friends continued to provide after-school classes for local children and volunteer opportunities for scouts and families in the nature area garden. Friends of the Orinda Nature Area will continue its mission of providing hands-on environmental science learning and research opportunities for students of all ages. We are grateful to have carried out our mission in the nature area for these past 30 years. We know that our work has had a positive and lasting impact on thousands of students. Many who have grown up to pursue careers in STEM and a lifestyle centered around appreciation for nature. Still interested in our support and working with us. Thank you.
Angel, is there public comment online?
There's no public comment.
Moving on to action items, 6A, LCAP.
Yes, so last Monday, we presented the LCAP. We haven't made any changes to the presentation or the LCAP. There were actually a couple updates to the metrics because there were some blanks left in there with regards to some data that came in at the end of the year with regards to the grade data and the reclassification data, which we just didn't have a week ago. So those were the only updates that were made. Otherwise, we've been working with the county. The county will be doing the reads. They don't anticipate any changes either. We heard you on the communications efforts and then also doing a slightly different presentation next year that will include some of those metrics. But we haven't heard anything from the community either. So, and it's been open for public comment since the hearing, actually prior to the hearing. So staff is recommending approval of the 25-26 LCAP. Is there any public comment? There's no public comment. Any discussion?
No, just thank you again for all the work that went into this. And my question was going to be if the community had responded at all.
Thanks for the work on it.
Thank you.
Discussed it last week, so I don't have anything further.
Okay. This is up for action. We could have a motion.
Mrs. Hillary, I move that the board adopt the 2025-2026 LCAP.
This is Benita. I second.
Trustee Phillips?
Aye.
Trustee Anantavant?
Aye.
Trustee Weiner?
Aye.
Vice President Shogun?
Aye.
President Collins-Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now to the district budget proposal. Mika.
Yes, so this is 25-26 school budget. This was presented to you last week and nothing has been changed and we brought this back to you for action.
And there was one comment that went to the board through an email, I think that we all received around just the facilities, yes. I'm not sure how to word it, I guess. We wish we had funding
So we don't
to,
have funding.
I will say that actually our consultants that, the King consultants, Mika and I met with them last week. They believe that they will secure to $19 million in funding. Won't be here within the next 3 years, but that's actually a significant funding amount. Yes. So once we have that figure and all of it is
19
ready
million for our district?
for our district, based on our expenditures and what they can do for us, which we're really excited about. Once we have that secured, we'll be actually communicating that with the public, because that's really a reinvestment of our bond dollars. So we make sure that we can, and it's fully,
It's not restricted.
yes, for facilities
facilities,
improvement. So
yes.
it's really just going straight to it is going straight, it has to go back, because it's matching to what we have spent in facilities.
That's
bond
wonderful.
money.
It's great.
And I think he has a budget, he has a plan.
I'm sure
I
you
think
plan.
so, yeah.
So, once we have those exact numbers and exact timelines, we'll share them with the board. and the
Great.
community.
Any public comment?
There's no public comment.
This is up for action. Give a motion.
This is Hillary. I move that the board approve the 2025-2026 of USD budget.
Katie, I second. Trustee Phillips? Is that an aye?
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Anantala? Aye. Trustee Weiner?
Aye.
Vice President Shogun?
Aye.
President Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Wonderful. Excess of minimum reserve requirement, Mika. Yeah.
This was also brought to you last week to disclose the components of ending fund balance and brought back to you for your action.
Wonderful. Any discussion, questions?
No, thank you.
Any public comment? All right, this is up for action. Have a motion?
This is Katie. I move that the board approve the 2025-26 statement balances in excess of minimum reserve requirements.
This is Benita, I second.
Trustee Phillips?
Aye.
Trustee Anantala?
Yes.
Aye.
Trustee Weiner?
Aye.
Vice President Shogun?
Aye.
President Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on, resolution 2533, authorizing 25-26 education protection account spending plan. Mika.
So this is a disclosure how we are spending Education Protection Act money. We are spending it to pay the classroom teachers. And this is brought to you for the action for approval.
Thank you for bringing all these. Is there any public comment?
No.
This is up for action. We have a motion.
This is Hillary. I move that the board approve resolution number 25-33, authorizing 2025-26 EPA spending plan.
This is Katie. I second. Trustee Phillips?
Aye.
Trustee Anantala?
Aye.
Trustee Weiner?
Aye.
Vice President Shogun?
Aye.
President Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Budget transfers.
This is an annual item that we are asking for your authorization to do the budget transfer during summer when the board is in recession. Is that what it's called?
Recess?
Recess? Yes. Oh, recess.
Not recession.
Recess.
The recession.
All right, is there any public comment? Any discussion? This is on for action.
This is Benita. I move that the board approve resolution number 25-34, authorizing year-end budget transfers.
This is Hillary. I'll second.
Trustee Phillips?
Aye.
Trustee Anantala?
Aye.
Trustee Weiner?
Aye.
Vice President Shogun?
Aye.
President Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Chartwell's contract.
So in 24-25, we started working with Chartwells to provide the breakfast and lunch. This is to extend the contract and amend with minor changes.
Any public comment?
There's no public comment.
Thank you for bringing this. We get any discussion?
No, I guess just my one question would be is if we're going to have some sort of presentation again in the fall, just to hear
Yeah,
about.
annual food
Okay.
service, yes.
That would be my.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And a tasty treat.
Yes, attention.
Yeah, we'll plan on, we'll have to meet around how do we distribute the board meetings and what are the annual updates, but yes,
Okay,
that's gonna be our annual update.
that's great. All right, this is up for action. We have a motion.
Yeah, this is Katie. I make my motion that the board approve the 2025-26 contract extension for Chartwell's Food Service Management Company.
I'll second. This is Hillary.
Trustee Anantavant,
Aye.
trustee Phillips,
Aye.
trustee Weiner,
Aye.
vice president Shogun,
Aye.
president Collins Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
This is a regular meeting schedule draft. Aida.
Right, so we actually discussed this last week, even though it was a slightly different agenda item, talking about possible move of days of the meeting with that. So we didn't move the day, but we talked about the draft. So the first half of the year, it looks like all of our Mondays fall on third Monday, and the second half of the year, they fall on a second Monday as planned. So unless there's any changes, that's our recommended.
Any
I
comments?
just want to share, I know for certain I'm missing the August 18th date, and the February 9th date. I'm going to do my best to be here, but I currently have travel scheduled then. But otherwise.
Okay. Anyone else?
That's fine on my end.
Likewise. Okay. Eve, any thoughts on the?
No conflicts at the moment.
Great.
Yeah, I think it's fine with me. No known conflicts at the moment.
Okay. Any public comment?
No public comment.
This is up for action. We have a motion.
This is Katie. I move that the board approve the Board of Trustees 2025-26 regular meeting schedule.
I'll second. This is Hillary.
Trustee Phillips,
Aye.
trustee Anantavant,
Aye.
trustee Weiner,
Aye.
vice president Shogun,
Aye.
president Collins Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And then we come to item H, employment contract superintendent. This item is the board's discussion and possible approval of a fourth amendment to the contract of employment between the district and the superintendent. The proposed contract amendment contains the following material terms. 1, the term of the contract is extended for another 2 years. It will now run from July 1, 2025 to June 30th, 2029. 2, the superintendent will receive a salary increase of 3% retroactive to July 1st, 2024. This increase represents 2% the superintendent is entitled to under Section 4C of the July 19th, 2021 agreement, and a 1% increase consistent with that provided to other certificated employees of the district. Effective July 1st, 2025, the original language of Section 4C will govern any salary increases provided to the superintendent. 3, all other items of the original July 19th, 2021 employment agreement will remain unchanged. The Board of Trustees will consider renewing the employment agreement of the superintendent with extension. As I mentioned, it's June 30th, 2029, and the compensation modified per the contractual amendment. Any discussion?
No, just thank you for all of your hard work.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the evaluation feedback. Appreciate that.
Yes. I guess I just want to be clear that the 2% is a salary, it's a step.
It's a step in college.
Which was already in.
Yes, it's already in the contract, so I just want to be clear that that's what that reflects.
Yes, so the increase is 1%, yes.
Okay, is there any?
There is no public comment. I'll just add, thank you, and I'm really happy to extend this contract and continue the work that's already been done. I think that done an outstanding job and would love to continue.
Yes. Okay. All right, and with that, this is up for action. We have a motion.
This is Hillary. I move that the board approve the employment contract for the superintendent.
This is Vanita, I second.
Trustee Phillips,
Aye.
trustee Anantavant,
Aye.
trustee Weiner,
Aye.
vice president Shogun,
Aye.
president Collins Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Well, okay, I really should say thank you. I didn't want to be presumptive of the contract. I just want to say thank you to the board for the ongoing support. We know we can't do the good work without the board's support, so we really appreciate that and your trust as leader. So I really appreciate the extension. I want to be here for a really long time, so at least 2029. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mika.
So every year in November, we transfer funds to the trust account for post-retirement benefit. And every June, we bring back our recommendation for additional amount. And we are not recommending to transfer any funds at this
discussion? I just appreciate that you bring it back every year. I agree with the recommendation, given our budgets.
Likewise, I agree with the recommendation.
Any public comment?
There is no public comment.
All right, this is just a discussion item, yes. Nika again, compensation report for the board.
Yes, this is to disclose throughout the year in 24-25 what we paid to board members. And the only thing we paid was for travel, training and workshop.
It's really attending the CSBA conference and going to the governance workshop, which we really appreciate that the board is doing that.
We all finished.
You finished
Finally.
your governor and workshop.
I highly recommend, it took
Yes.
a year, but
Yeah, I agree.
because
did it, yeah.
Hillary and Cara recommended it when we first joined the board, so I'm glad I did it. It's a lot of drives, long drives, but
Yes.
it's very essential, so highly recommend that. Yeah. All right, this is just up for discussion. Any public comment?
No public comment.
And thank you for volunteering your time. It's a lot of work for a really high compensation.
And board members, school assignment.
Yeah, so each board member has is a liaison to a school. You tend to visit those schools, you attend a lot of their events. So we do try to rotate at those assignments. We have a little spreadsheet and try to, keep you going to school so that you can get to know as many of our schools. With that said, we have 5 board members and 5 schools, so we do run out of rotations at some point. So we are now, I think, on a swing of some of you are coming back to your schools that you've been to. Some of you are going, maybe we're recommending schools where your children are or you're familiar with. So this is just based on simple rotations, but we're happy to take any input. And it's not an action, it's just a discussion. And of course, board members are be happy to host us. Schools are happy to host you at all of their events, but this is just our recommended. And we usually let the principals know and the parents and so on.
This is just up for discussion. Any comments, discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I just appreciate,
So I can just make a, go ahead.
Go ahead, Edie.
Sure, no, I just want to say with this, I'm less, although I think we can talk about whether it's appropriate to be assigned schools where our kids are, maybe it's better to actually be at schools where they're not, even if that means doubling up on other schools if we're doing this. My bigger concern is just whether this is a good practice for us to engage in overall. And so I'm hoping we can have this as part of the discussion in the governance workshop that we do as a board and annually in August. Just to talk about kind of our overall, like how we manage our relationships, with the superintendent, with schools, et cetera, and make sure that we're not doing things that, either optically or in reality, suggest that we're taking more of an operational role than is actually the role of the board member. So just wanted to put that out there, but really for, I think future, I think there will be a good time and place for us to discuss in more detail.
So we've selected a board workshop, the governance workshop,
Yes.
not governance, yeah, governance workshop, yes, in August. So we will definitely agendize this as a discussion, but to the board.
Any?
I mean, I would just say, I think for today's purposes, I'm, supportive of what's put on the agenda tonight as far as where we're each assigned. We certainly can move things around in August if we want to have a further discussion around it. I think it would be a good time at the governance workshop to kind of go through what our role is as board members and what this actually means as far as having an assignment, that it's not intended to be something that goes beyond the scope of our duties as board members. But just, that is laid out in our board protocols and our handbook as well, as far as what our responsibilities are in our duties.
Any other thoughts, any questions around, the school sites that are listed and how we have them, or any concerns?
I'm fine with the list as it's posted. I do not have any issues with it, and I do think rotating through is necessary, and eventually you run out of options for rotating. And I think, agendizing it for the governance to address concerns makes sense. I really value the time to observe on campus, just be there, so that when I make decisions, in this room, I have some context to that. So I do appreciate consistently seeing a site more than once during the year. I approve.
So we will place that on the agenda and come back, but for now, we'll just use this. I mean, we're not even communicating this right now until we start the year, but we'll go with these assignments as liaisons and then we'll come back in August. Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay.
And
you.
Stuart, Measure E and I.
Okay. Sleepy Hollow Elementary School has experienced ongoing operational issues related to the HVAC system and associated equipment installed as part of the recent mods. A significant number of these issues have been attributed to rodent activity, specifically rodents chewing through exposed control wiring and damaging pipe insulation. This has led to malfunctions and increased maintenance needs. In an effort to identify a potential fix, we worked with Swinnerton and HKIT to come up with a scope. So we had to analyze the conditions that we have. How do we try to mitigate this? We came up with a scope, did a bid process. We had a number of different companies out looking at it. We had a couple of bids. The proposed solution resulted in a scope with the key elements of installing a protective metal cladding around the exposed piping insulation to mitigate some of that rodent damage chewing. We're rerouting and enclosing all accessible and vulnerable control wiring into conduit to safeguard electrical systems. And then sealing all the openings of the exterior HVAC units, which is a little bit of a challenge. We have to figure out what kind of mesh to use because it still needs to draw the air through that. So we feel we came up with a viable scope to do. Like I said, we had two contractors actually submit the bids, and we recommend that Kevin M. Sullivan and Associates be awarded this contract. The plan is to get the work done this summer and completed for the start of the school year.
Seems like we don't have a choice.
I'm sorry?
I said, it seems like we don't have a choice on this.
We really don't. So we have not been experiencing the same issues at any of the other schools. So I just don't anticipate that we're going to have the same issue. We've had minor up at Wagner Ranch, but the buildings are different. There's not miles of piping up on roofs. It's right next to us, so that should be a much easier mitigation to take care of.
I probably know the answer to this already, but this is not under warranty. This doesn't count for any kind of compensation given it's a brand new system.
I wish it was. It's not. It gets a little complicated when the district purchased the equipment, contractor installed. So the system is installed as designed. I don't think that they being Daikin, considered rodent intrusion at schools when they designed these.
Okay, so it was installed correctly and installed in the right location. That was not an issue. Okay, yeah, I don't think there's much to do other than fix the problem, but it's disappointing, to say the least, and really expensive.
It's been very frustrating to try and get it and come up with something we felt confident would mitigate most, if not all. The hope is that we're going to mitigate all of the rodent issues.
And again, are they going after this specifically because it's soy-based, or there's something about it?
The insulation is soy-based. That's something that is industry-wide now.
As a mandate.
As a mandate. So it's difficult to not get soy-based insulation. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the import cars, some of the newer cars having issues. One of our team members with Swinnerton has had it 3 times in her Acura that she drives, having to get wiring harnesses replaced, and it's all soy-based insulation. It's attracting them. It's good.
Is there anything else to do on that campus specifically just to mitigate in general for rodents? Of course, they're an issue, but extraordinary
It's
issue there.
very difficult. You look at most of our campuses are right next to nature areas. They have creeks.
In a garden.
Yeah.
Gonna add more.
It's a challenge.
Are there other sites that need an HVAC system put in place in the future? Or just thinking like in the,
No.
everything's already been done, right?
There are actually some locations like if you were to ask our principals, they would love our
Like Orinda NPR.
NPRs, locker rooms at OIS. So there are like specific rooms or spaces, but as the school sites, they've been handled.
And
I was thinking like if you had to put in another system somewhere, you would.
the NPR, for example, would have a different system than these VREs that we're putting in. The 30s wing that we're going to be remodeling has a different version of it where it's not the same with the VRV here pumping Freon out here. It's going to be up on the roof, straight in. So
Where rodents wouldn't be able to get to.
much easier to control that.
Any public comment? Well, this is just a discussion. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is up for action. Can we have a motion?
This is Hillary. I move the board approve the contract with Kevin M. Sullivan and Associates.
This is Katie, I second. Trustee Phillips?
Aye.
Trustee Anantavant? Aye. Trustee Weiner?
Aye.
Vice President Shogun?
Aye.
President Collins Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, board policy.
Yeah, these are just a few board policies we updated based on most recent changes in laws and regulations. So they're all based on CSBA recommendations.
Any public comment?
Public comment.
Any discussion from board members? This is up for action. We have a motion, please.
This is Hillary. I move that we approve board policies 9B through D.
Katie, I second. Trustee Phillips?
Aye.
Trustee Anantavant? Aye. Trustee Weiner?
Aye.
Vice President Shogun?
Aye.
President Collins Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
CSEA.
We don't have anyone from CSCA, but we have
Yeah.
Mr. Shannon.
Just slipping through the night, aren't we? So good evening, school board, Superintendent Lemmy, staff, and members of the community. I'm Charles Shannon, president of the Orinda Education Association. I'm thrilled to stand here tonight to report the incredible progress made last week during our curriculum collaborative. This event truly showcased the dedication and collaborative spirit of our amazing educators. It was genuinely energizing to see teams working together so effectively to significantly advance our curriculum development. The hard work and creativity of all participants were instrumental in shaping several key areas that will directly benefit our students. Lesson plans for Heritage Months, the K-5 Social Studies scope and sequence, important updates to the English Language Arts and Math scope and sequence. It was a lot. It was exciting. I was a part of it. It was neat to see a group of amazing educators from around our district representing the different grade levels. Just all the creativity and good work that we did, and I think you'll be really pleased to see that. Please note that these initiatives are still a work in progress, and we anticipate further formatting updates and refinements over the summer months. I want to give a special shout out to Sarah Castellandri for her leadership. Once again, she was just so amazing in being able to work with us. She just went around the entire time for 3 days straight, from morning till late afternoon, making sure that we had the utmost support. She's such a cheerleader. You can imagine that this work is tiring. It's, we had just long sessions, but she made it fun and she fed us. So it was wonderful. In other positive news, I'm pleased to report that both our English Language Learner program and extended school year programs are progressing exceptionally well. I'm doing the ELL program, and I have Lindsay Relash doing the elementary ESY program, and then Patrick, I don't know his last name, I apologize, Franklin, who's doing the older kids. And we are just super excited every day to work closely with these students. I do the summer school program most summers. It's my highlight. I just love working with these kids. We've really dedicated ourselves to supporting their ongoing growth. as learners. And this commitment highlights the passion and expertise within our own teaching staff, because typically it's mostly just our teachers from Orinda. Furthermore, I want to take a moment to express our profound appreciation for the exceptional leadership of our superintendent, Dr. Glennie. Her vision, guidance, and unwavering support are foundational to initiatives like the Curriculum Collaborative I was talking about, the success of all of our vital programs, and the overall positive trajectory of our district. Recognizing her invaluable contributions, the Orinda Education Association strongly recommends and supports the extension of her contract. So we really appreciate, we knew the board would do that. And for our sustained progress and well-being of our students and staff. So we see how it's having just an overall super positive effect. In closing, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to everyone involved for their unwavering commitment to our students and to each other. Our dedication to Orinda students is what makes our district so special. And we wish all of our staff a restful and well-deserved summer break. We realize that Stuart Watson and others are working really hard with the construction. And we really appreciate that work being done in the summer. And I hear there's a lot of amazing progress being made. So we're excited to begin there at the end of the summer after we're well rested to see our schools looking super special. Yeah. Bright and shiny. Anyway, thank you so much. It's nice to see that we're going to have one board meeting that ends a little earlier. It's very nice. But I just want to say thank you. It's been an amazing year. I know we all need some rest, but it's just incredible the work that we all do for each other on behalf of our students. So thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Have an update?
Yeah, I'll actually just echo a couple of things that Charles said. Thank you, Charles, for all the passing the kind words. We'll make sure that Sarah hears what you said. But it was a really busy last week, so I'll just quickly highlight the extended school year is going well. And actually, I know we approved Chartwell's, but those were some of the really great positive comments. The kids eating in the morning and actually getting grab and go. So kudos to Lindsay Walker and Mika to organize that. They actually get them delivered to the kids and then they pick them up and carpool the food. It was really sweet. And then kudos to Charles. I walked into his English ELD program and there was music playing and it was just really nice. It's like one of the better ones I've seen over the summer. So that was really nice. And the ESY program, thank you, Stephanie, for leading that. It was just so well organized. It was really great. If you want to see chaos, if anybody wants to come and put a hard hat on and closed-toe shoes, reach out and either Stuart or I can walk with you around. I mean, it is madness, but in all the good ways at our school site. So
Talk to a little bit if you want.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm happy to. Like I said last part, I mean, there was a tremendous amount of collaborative planning and coordination. We utilized the Swinnerton team and the experience they have. My background as well. Different members of wrote in, just kind of going over the sequencing of what's going to happen at each campus, pointing out, hey, this might work, you may want to think about that. And it was just very collaborative, and it's really nice to see it paying off. It seems like it's flowing well. There's the hazmat's happening over here, so they're demoing the concrete here. It's just it's very well coordinated. Coordinated chaos, I guess, is the way to put it. So I feel that we're off to a good start. I'm happy with what I'm seeing. There's really good momentum. There's things that are coming up that we're addressing and being able to kind of shift on the fly. We're taking advantage of, again, what's going on at each campus as far as getting in and cleaning what we can. An example today, we recognize that they're working their way to the 90s wing. So we went and made sure it was good for the custodians, okay for them to get in and get the floors stripped and waxed up in the 90s wing that really sorely needed that. So we've started that today on the 4 classrooms on the right. Again, I wouldn't have jumped in and asked for this if I hadn't seen the really good protection that they've been doing in the classrooms with the bisqueen, the floor protection and all that. Feeling that we have a good end product when they're done doing the work in the 90s. We're hoping we can get the other ones done as well. So that's just kind of a smaller example of what's happening at all the sites. Along with that, we're doing some of our deferred maintenance projects. The Bass building at Glorietta is complete. The dry rot, it's done, it's repaired. The MPR roof at Glorietta was completed today. They finished that work. Del Rey, Glorietta is starting tomorrow, the roof. They're wrapping up the dry rot repair at Wagner Ranch. The gutter people come back in, the county will come back and get the gutter up. So not bad for a weekend.
I made a comment. I went to visit the sites Friday afternoon, which looked like middle of Monday. I mean, it was just buzzing. One of the, was talking to the contractor, Glorietta. I said, this is incredible, the progress. And he said, ma'am, there's a deadline. Do you know we have to be done by a certain time? So we are working like round the clock. And I said, I am aware of your deadline very well. So, I mean, they're just like, there's no missing the deadline. I'm like, you're right, there isn't. So they're like taking that really seriously. And that is really refreshing. So thank you, Stuart. I know it's a lot. And I'll just say, last week you just heard it from Charles. The office every space was busy. We had teachers here. We had an administrative retreat, working on all sorts of things that are going to be coming to you. So, which we're excited about. So, a lot going on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well
it's
done.
a great start of the summer.
Yep, indeed. Board report. Eve, would you like to start?
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Given we just spoke last week, or we just met last week, I don't have a lot of report from last week, so I will pass it on to the next person.
I don't have anything.
You neither? Okay.
I don't really either. I'll just say I did walk by Glorietta today and it was like, wow. But I think, it's also nice because I was walking with a friend in the neighborhood and, to see everything that's happening there really makes people understand why the school site is closed.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, they were questioning why we needed to close everything, and now nobody's questioning it
Yeah.
anymore.
No report for me. We were here last week.
Likewise, no report. Great. Consent calendar. Items B through I. Could have a motion.
This is Hillary. I move that we approve the consent calendar, items B through I.
This is Katie, I second.
Trustee Phillips,
Aye.
trustee Anantavant,
Aye.
trustee Weiner,
Aye.
vice president Shogun,
Aye.
president Collins-Coleman,
Aye.
motion carries.
And now we come to future agenda items.
Yes. Yeah, so we have there is the traditional, sorry, I'm a little behind, I'm sorry, Eve. On the future agenda item is our August meeting, but we will be sitting before that to plan out the year and see if that's the right flow of the year, so that may change. And we also have just decided on our workshop, so we'll add that there too. I just also want to remind the board and our audience that the board docs this is the last meeting with the board docs as they are migrating to their new system. So that's why we didn't want to put all sorts of things in there, because that will be a brand new system. So that they are forcing us into. So all, which is great. They need to. So we'll work on this during summer to what should we be kicking off the year with. Yeah.
Thank you. And now we come to adjournment.
Hillary, I move that we adjourn our meeting.
This is Katie, I second.
Trustee Phillips,
Aye.
trustee Anantavant,
Aye.
trustee Weiner,
Aye.
vice president Shogun,
Aye.
president Collins-Coleman,
Aye.
motion carries.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Happy summer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eve.